Otherwise, it's just
Whoa.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 217 of Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Mike? Well, here we are. We are one episode removed from reminding everyone, Mike, that you absolutely can't fire Jeff Blashill, Mike, because waiting in the wings is
two
not
more
much
ball
better.
guys.
But Mike, I mean, you know, we could speak plainly here. Everyone and their mother is ready.
I like plain speak.
Is ready to pull the trigger after losing a game to the Arizona Coyotes, Mike, 9-2. I don't know anybody who hasn't heard the news. But going down, Mike, to not only the worst team in the league, but predicted and tankified their roster, worst team in the league. Like, without the hot dog eating man himself, Phil Kessel, who left after one shift to go see his child be born. The Arizona Coyotes. Maybe that's who's holding them back. Maybe it's Phil Kessel. Mike, today this is filled with beer. It's not a good beer, but it's necessary. It's a necessary beer. Never.
Wow. Yeah, you know, Matt, some of us watched the debacle against the Coyotes from the safety of home, where we could safely change the channel. Me personally, I just received Elden Ring as a gift, so I immersed myself in that for a little bit. God, that's a great game. Matt, turns out you were there in person. You didn't really have the option to change the channel, so to speak. Matt, what was the environment like out at Little Caesars Arena?
Well, not good.
Not good, Bob. Not good.
No, I was laughing. I mean, once it got to 6, I shouldn't even say that. Once it probably got to 4, then it was just kind of like funny. Like, then it was just like the people that were sitting next to me were like turning and looking because I was laughing hysterically. Like, you can't. It's one of those things where if you're not laughing, you know, you're crying. So my body, not even me, like my body just chose like, you're gonna laugh right now because you don't want to think too hard about what's going on. And yeah, it wasn't great.
No. The other option
like,
was I know you got him on a hot microphone, was catching our dad booing his heart out.
Boo! I actually I was half through getting that queued up. If y'all want to meet good old Papa Red Wings Rant.
Yeah.
All right, I think I got this queued up, so all the audio should work and everything. But here's Seider getting hit with the elbow, which was I don't know. I thought it was a bad call, but I also couldn't see because I was up in the drink rail seats. But yeah, my this is the call, and Mike, you know the rules. Just stop me if you don't hear anything.
All right.
He's got 2 for Alboy and 2 for roughing.
Oh, come on! Woo! Woo!
I don't think we don't need the visual, but we definitely need to keep that audio for the rest of the length of this show as it exists. Just anytime something goes wrong.
The best thing was our dad seeing that I posted that video, and he's like, "Oh, I'm famous," and then we looked at how many likes it had, and he was like, "Oh, that's me, you, and your brother." All right, well, it's like, yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, a lot of people tuned out on this game, but I want to get two more questions from performance art. Yeah, it was 2019. Oh wait, it was 2019 last game.
Yeah.
Oh, he's saying it
it's
was like a
2019 all over
Red Wing
again.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just read that.
Shellacked.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Is
man,
it though?
What?
Is this? I mean, isn't this much worse?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that, man.
All right.
When we're gonna put Blashill on to trial here. Matt, again, I had another question for you. Being there in person, I mean, it's a long highlight reel. If you're on NHL.com to watch 9 goals go in, quite a few of them. I think there was kind of a vague glove wave by Nedeljkovic or Grice, but it didn't seem like maximum effort was out there. Watching the entire play unfold for 9 goals, did you get a feeling like did a couple of people stand out effort wise, or this just felt like a team wide emotional collapse where they stopped playing?
I think, and you know what, I'm kind of giving this the most thought I've given it right now, but easily first period, those first 2 goals from Arizona, nobody was defending out in front of the net. Now we're going to talk later about Nedeljkovic's stats over the last 2 months. We'll get to that. They're not great. There's your teaser. It's not good, Mike, at all. But in Ned's defense, he did look like he gave up at one point in the game where you could just fire it at him, and he wasn't giving maximum effort. That's fine, because what I think he saw in the first period was, oh, okay, so I'm just going to be hung out to dry here. Lindstrom and Stahl not giving any effort together. Like pucks just going right out in front of the net. And it didn't matter what he did to sprawl out or try and make the stop. It was almost like he had to, become the defenseman and stop the passes, which, for the goaltender, that's not necessarily, that's, you can make that decision, but his position is to cover the net first. He shouldn't have to do the defensive job. So the pucks are just screaming all the way through the crease, left and right. Guys are just walking behind the net, getting plays set up out in front. And yeah, Ned was laid out to dry. And again, I would say that might be what led to the disaster of a score where Ned just kind of gave up in the second half of the game, because it was kind of like, well, what am I doing? Why am I going to
stand on my head for this kind of effort?
Yeah.
So I guess I want to
So performance art, he throws out there, those goals should have been stopped. I say he gave up. I think it was because of how that first period rolled and how, like, I put it this way, Mike. I'm kind of you hate when I do this, but I'm kind of doing this to tout my own tweeting efforts.
I was worried you're going to tell us about your NHL 2K team, so this is better.
Oh, good. All right. So I said there was a lot of buzz in the arena tonight before the game. I mistook it as excitement for Vrana. Actually, it was the reverberations of 2 flapping cheeks from our wet fart of a defensive effort. Mike, 10 likes. What gives? Twitter? Come on.
People that's post. Too many. Yeah. It was, no, that was a good one. No, that was fine. That wasn't my favorite. I've liked other tweets that you did a lot better.
That was really good. There was big words in it. I said reverberations. Flapping cheeks. You don't often get that imagery on Twitter. Flapping cheeks.
No. Matt, you don't see a lot of reverberating butt cheeks on Twitter unless you know what to search for. Matt, I do have another question for you. Being in the game, and Joey Furtaw.
I just wanted Joey.
No one was listening to Blash.
I wanted to call that out because we're gonna get to it, Joey. We'll get to it shortly. But yeah, Mike has questions for.
Yeah, I just had another
of that disaster.
Yeah, I had another question for you here, because for me, it's you talk about the only reaction that was left for you was laughter, because it was. There's no other positive way to like watch that. Pay a lot of money in person, watch it, and then have to not be able to move for 3 hours.
There was.
But what's the philosophy of pulling your goalie and then pulling him again in the same game? I don't know if it's just an indictment on Grice. Like they're saying that, my God, even Grice can't do it. All right, Nedeljkovic, get back out there. Because it's not like it was injury related. It just seemed like, I guess Grice is going to stop exactly nothing. So we'll go back to the other guy who's at least stopping like 78% of them.
Well, let me, Joey, when I told you we'd come to your comment in a second, I was just kidding. We're going to come to it right now. Mike, pulling your goalie twice, or I'm sorry, replacing your goalie twice, which then results in the original goalie being back in without injury coming into play. And this happening, Mike, twice in the last couple of weeks, if not a week, just, the brain's fuzzy. That happening twice in the last couple of weeks is an indication that he has no idea what's going wrong with this team, which is very troubling because we can kind of look at some of the numbers and we can watch the replays and we can figure some of this stuff out. But Jeffy boy is in such a mad scramble to figure this out on the fly. And this, Mike, is a signal of either having no clue or being in absolute panic mode because he's losing grip of this team. I wouldn't say in the last episode, we talked about how Jeff's days are numbered. So we're not necessarily like Jeff supporters, but yeah. I think in the grand scheme of all Red Wings fans, we haven't been like we're not Jeff firers. We haven't been. But that to me is the most red flag of all red flags for coaching. And Joey points out another one here with that timeout that it looked like nobody was listening. Now, I will say most timeouts, it does look like half the team isn't listening, but it is pretty telling that when you're at a moment where you've given up so many goals and your coach is trying to get this thing turned around and you're still not listening. Mike, for as loud as Jeff was screaming, their response spoke volumes. I'm sorry. I'm pretending I'm being poetic, and really it's just cliche and cringe.
No, I don't think I've seen this. I think it was like twice in the last 10 days we've done that. Replace goalie. And I haven't really seen that since maybe I was in Pee Wee soccer. And our usual starting goalie was sick that day, so we put in the backup, and the backup is the backup because he sucks. So then they put in the starter kid, but the starter kid still has diarrhea, so then they got to put in just the other kid who can actually he actually brought gloves with him. So okay, well, you're goalie now, and it's by that time it's 10-0. That's what this kind of felt like was Pee Wee soccer.
Now, I do want to reiterate too. It kind of feels like we're getting into it already. About how I just there's been so many conversations about what we've seen Jeff do, and I've made the argument so many times that it's he has to scramble because there isn't enough on this team. I think with the Nedeljkovic stuff and the Thomas Grice stuff and the scrambling between goalies, it's just reeks of desperation. And it doesn't look like before when we had the Blashill blender, I was pretty adamant and always making the argument, even if I got frustrated, I'd pull myself back and go, you know what? This team isn't chock full of talent. He's trying to find an answer. That's not him trying to find it. He just has no idea what's going on at that point. This is so far outside of the realm of him trying to find an answer. And that's where I used to make the argument there was a level bald head making the decision. And I just don't know. And further that conversation, Mike, we already touched on it. Our potential replacements here, if you were to be fired, those two guys are on the bench, Mike. They could tell Jeff to cut it out, and none of that happened. So I'm losing confidence in this team of coaches rapidly. But I'm not the guy who's going to fire Jeff Blashill on March 9th with a month and a half to go. Just no reason for Yzerman to panic. I think we saw his face last night. But Mike, I keep talking over you, and I wanted to finish my point, but go ahead.
I mean, on this show, we've definitely made the case for Blashill multiple times, and what an empty gesture it would be to fire him, because we're not trying to inspire this team. That, my God, best case scenario is they leap up over 2 or 3 teams in the standings to be the number 8 seed and get squashed in the first round, 4-0. So in essence, Matt, this is all going according to Yzerplan. If you want to thank anybody, when those ping pong balls are going off and we're figuring out the draft lottery odds, if you want to thank anybody right now, Matt, there's only one guy making an effort to get Shane right, and Matt, it's Jeff Blashill. He has this team of plucky kids and guys just entering their prime, and he has them playing like an absolute toilet nightmare, where previously we had the excuse that it was just Tampa, it's Florida, and now it's the Coyotes at home with a couple days in between games. We're still getting annihilated. So I don't think we should be too mad, because this is still what we're trying to accomplish. We still don't quite have that top line center, and maybe this is our only way to do it. Again, can't harp on it enough. There's no point in firing him unless he's completely lost the room and there's open anarchy in the locker room and people are laughing him off and stuff like. I mean, that would be like historically awful disconnect between player and coach, right? Outside of that situation,
well,
there's no point.
We could. I guess that might be where I was.
Are we saying that these games are the open anarchy?
That's what I was going to say. It felt like I was.
I keep saying anarchy, and I want to say mutiny. My apologies.
I think I was accidentally building the case for that, with Ned kind of giving up on the game, the team not awake again at the start. Joey threw out there. You watch the replay on that timeout. Nobody's listening. I just it still is one of those things for me where I just think now it's done. The time is the end is nigh for the Jeff Blashill era here in Detroit. But I'm still not gonna fire him now, because it doesn't, I don't know. It's still not a Steve Yzerman move. It was funny, like when DeKeyser was waived. I was actually making the argument the day before he was waived here on YouTube comments, saying like, you know what, Steve's not going to do that. And it turns out, all he was doing was waiving him. He wasn't releasing him. He wasn't saying goodbye. So it did. I still believe in the way that Steve Yzerman is managing this team. As part of it is building a culture of keeping, like not making a move like that for a team that it doesn't make sense for right now. I mean, you could talk about, I don't know, squandering a month and a half if you felt the team was that disconnected from Jeff Blashill, squandering a month and a half of potential to develop. Or maybe it's a combo. He is gone, and maybe there's a lot of guys on this team that we don't really need to worry too much about, because it was 9-2, Mike, and the goaltending was horrendous, but there wasn't a lot to pull from that. So I don't know.
I mean, the only thing to explore in this game is whether or not this is time for us to really think about pivoting on our point on whether or not we have to fire Blashill, because it's like, we were saying it's like an all-out mutiny. That's what it would take. But this, if you're going to say this is not an all-out mutiny, what would a game that is an all-out mutiny look like? Would it look worse than 9-2?
That's a great point.
And I guess, I mean, would it really be like DeKeyser related? I like some think pieces that I saw, that came out today and last night. That, as you basically broke almost any chance that you had of realistically making the playoffs with that performance and that streak against the Torontos, the Floridas, and the Lightning. Turns out hockey players are human beings. And now that the Red Wings kind of see, I guess we're going to miss the playoffs again, and we're playing for draft picks. So this season, there isn't really a carrot for me to chase. Is that a little bit more of what we're seeing? So maybe, like, are we? I mean, I don't even know if we've seen the worst yet. I mean, obviously losing to Phoenix in that fashion at home is pretty rough. But I mean, that's just the first bad game at home against a bad team. I don't emotionally, Matt. Is this? Do you think that's maybe a breaking point, knowing that the playoff hope is officially it's snuffed? Because it just seems so odd that this game with Vrana coming back, it felt like a lot of us kind of had that penciled in for now we can turn it on and see if we can make this team buyers. But I mean he showed up and he scored a goal and it's still he's going to be fine, obviously. But I really thought that he would kind of give us that extra oomph, and it couldn't have been more wrong about that.
Well, there's a lot of points in there you were making. But yeah, I mean, to kind of sum up what your main question is do we pivot?
Because didn't you think this would be the turning point for this season, where it's kind of like, we had this really rough stretch. Now we get the Coyotes. Now we get Vrana back. All right, now we're getting closer to what we think this team's going to be. And
I tweeted out. I had warned everybody. I was like, don't get too excited when this is a blowout against Arizona. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I keep answering the same question over and over. I think, and I'll put it I think I'm going to steal from Performance Art because I'm reading the comments too. I think it was, where'd it go? Somebody made a good point in the comments. There it is. Jared said it. Sorry, Performance Art. It was Jared. Sorry, Jared. Biggest question for Eisman is who is available and willing to replace Blashill. Again, like what are we doing? Like we're just making a big show to fire Blashill. I guess that's fine, right? I guess you're saying like I'm not going to put up with this with the next coach, which I don't know. Does that really need to be said, for a team that's not going to the playoffs is kind of where my head's at. So it's just, I guess, yeah, it does. Like right now you fire him. You're only doing it for the show of firing Jeff Blashill because you're not doing it to like grab onto your next coach. Because, I mean, Joey throws it out there. Rickard Gronberg is sort of the fun name to throw out on Twitter right now. He's somebody, I mean, Joey throws it out there that Lidstrom has brought up. He looks cool as hell. He's got a mile-long beard, if you guys haven't seen him yet. But, like, what does his life look like right now that we are going to fire Jeff and then call him up? I mean, he's got things he's finishing up right now as well. So it's just one of those things. And I'm not 100% sure what his season looks like right now. Maybe it is wrapped up. Maybe I just don't know. That's certainly the case. But I guess it's just one of those things where I think all this stuff getting figured out in the off season makes more sense. I just, if you do it now, the team is going to be in the same situation. And I don't know. Is it because you can convince me. I'm not going to dig my heels in here. But is it not just a show for the fans? Are you telling the players? Is that enough? Could you tell the players, like, I'm not putting up with this stuff. I'll make the change for you guys? Or is it you guys get this sort of result from Jeff, so he's out of here. It's on you, boys. I'm going to get you a new coach. But now you got to start straightening things out. Which actually, to talk about next season, you bring in a new coach and you're getting the same performances from Mr. Zadina and Foligno, who's not really played terribly. I think he's just more or less defined himself to be a bottom six. And, like those questions start to get answered when you get another coach in here and those kind of performances continue. And you Rasmussen, where does that go? You get another coach in here, you can kind of finally answer that question because nobody can say it's the coaching staff holding them back. Maybe there just wasn't going to be a resurgence from any of those players.
Yeah, let me throw this out there, Matt. I think that firing Blashill is like kidding aside. I think it goes like so off brand of what Yzerman likes, like the way he likes to orchestrate his team. He's a captain because he's a captain of the Red Wings because he was such a like pragmatic, thoughtful guy. And from the moves he's made as a general manager of the Red Wings, like he's so good at managing different personalities, whether it's taking a chance on a Fabry, who is a guy who was not underperforming as a first round pick, whether it's with Larkin, just not outright calling him the captain, kind of making him earn that role instead of just being given the role. And I just think that for this team, for him to potentially, if we're going to call this like a open mutiny, for him to fire a coach like that, I don't think that he would envision and allow his squad to think that they can get away with something like that. It's almost like, what do you really think that changing the coach is going to do? You guys should be able to see that this is effort related. And we know that you have the effort in your bodies because we've seen it this season. We've seen you do some incredible things where, it looked like you were leaps and bounds above where the rebuild was going to be. So as far as Yzerman kind of managing those kind of emotions for his players, like their mental well-being, I don't think that he would do that. I don't think that he would fire Blashill because I think he would kind of make these guys, listen, you're in a rough spot, and I know there's talent in you. You're going to have to figure this out. I'm not going to let a mutiny, just completely derail things. That's not how this is going to work. This is still my baby. So we're going to do it like how I set out to do it. And we're going to make this work. And it's going to hurt sometimes, but this is going to be about effort. And again, I know that we're not the most talented team in the league, but we've gone toe to toe with really talented teams this season. I've seen it. We have the tape. You guys are on the ice doing it. So we need to get back to doing that. And, there isn't much more to it.
Now, just to throw this in there, Grönborg is playing in the National League. He coaches for the ZSC Lions. They are in a playoff spot right now, so I don't think he's running away from that just yet. So that's something to consider. So somebody might be sitting there right now listening to this, saying, "Well, yeah, you just wait till he gets knocked out of the playoffs, and then you fire Jeff, and then you bring him over here." But again, I don't know. I don't think there's any rush right now to bring over, if he's the answer, if he's your next coach. I don't think there's any rush to getting him over here. We still got 2 weeks left in the season. I don't know.
Let's go through a few of your slides here, Matt. We don't want to linger too much on them because it's basically, the statistical backing for what's been a rough stretch here for our winged wheel hockey team.
Well, I wanted to bring it up because I think I'm guilty. I'm definitely guilty. I've always been critical of, the Coach of the Year awards, and it always seems to go to whoever gets the best goaltending. And we do know that we had tremendous goaltending through December. So I just wanted to point out how terrible actually our goaltending has been And, you can point to the defense. You can point to the whole scheme for this team, but we're going to focus on a statistic that's called goals saved above expected. So it's trying to eliminate that as a variable because you have your expected goals number. We're going to take a huge chunk of games and we're going to say these are the goals that were supposed to go in and how far beneath that are you? Well, out of 105 goalies, Mike, Nedeljkovic is 12th from the bottom for goals saved above expected for the season now. And a lot of it, Mike, has to deal with this stretch of the last 2 months where he is the second worst goals saved above expected with a negative 13.87, Mike. Over that span, 88 save percentage. And yeah, that's where I'll stop talking because that's the only other statistic on here I think is worthwhile dissecting. Because I'm not going to give you guys a total of goals against. Who gives a shit? But anyway, we're talking about a statistic, Mike, that we are pretty adamant, I think, on this show, that this is maybe the best way we have to decipher is your goaltending working out or not. And we've had games where we've looked at it. We've said, wow, Nedeljkovic let in a lot. He had a negative expected goals against, but man, did he save a bunch of goals too. This essentially is making the argument that this is a big enough collection of data that, Mike, we said it, I think 2 weeks ago, that Ned has now played double the amount of games or close to double the amount of games that he played all of last season. And clearly it is a problem right now. I am not saying Nedeljkovic is bad. I am telling you, Mike, that with him playing double the games he played last year, I don't know right now if he was ready to be thrown into the starter position. He may have said, we may have seen half a season that looked like he was ready. But if you had to pinpoint the exact time when it started to collapse in on us and collapse in on him, it was when he hit that point of how many games he played last year. And then the numbers started to curtail in the wrong direction. And I just got to throw out there. Now, I was talking about how I'm guilty, and it's because I'm so critical of people who vote for the coach of the year every year. And of course, like I said, it always seems to go to the team that has the best goaltending. So that being said, what I was blinding myself to was, this team and its abilities, and I was really excited. Even into December, I gave it credit. I still was legitimately hoping that we could sneak into the playoffs. But Mike, it was because we had such great goaltending and we recognized it and we called it out game after game. And here's what happens when it's not so great. It goes in the wrong direction. Yeah. So this is just something, I mean, this was a quick dive and a small bit of research, but it is telling. It says a lot, and it's not my favorite thing to show off, but it is. We're looking at factual numbers here. And it's not fun. But you gave a lot.
I mean, it's the eyeball test and it's the deep cut stuff. So there isn't really too much more to dissect. It's kind of a bummer. And Nedeljkovic, the more this stretch continues, it looks like he's hit the rookie wall. So I don't know how much more, we need to, put him up on the cross. But it looks like it's hitting him for sure.
Well, Mike, he's played too many games. Well, we did get our good boy back, Jakub Vrana, who we've both been guilty of calling him Jakub over and over because it's more fun. We grew up with Jakub Kindle, so he was going to be a Jakub to start.
I thought you were going to say, I grew up with Jakub Vrana. Remember last season?
Still on his point per game pace. It feels pretty good. So, I mean, right, we can't just be completely negative the whole show. So we can talk about a goal, right? Can we talk about one?
Yeah, there's one highlight. Yeah,
Verona got a goal. This was a mad scramble for the puck right out in front of the net. And Verona just shows off how skilled he is, that he can just take this garbage play that's turning into nothing and just whip it at the net, and just pure skill hits the back. I mean, there's that, you just said, how much do we want to dissect there for the goaltending statistics? But how much do you really need to dissect for Vrana? Because we saw him last year. We know that this kid is a goal scorer. I think maybe the only thing you want to talk about here is how happy we can be that maybe this isn't going to be something where we're going to watch this and we'd have to go like 10 games and see Vrana get like no points. And we're just like, uh-oh, did we get too excited last year? No, he comes in one game. Again, this is not, this is a goal scorer. Like, this is a goal scorer's goal who's cleaning up a mess and he decides to throw it in the back of the net, right? Like that's what's going on here. So this is a horrible game. There's one positive. This is the positive.
Yeah, I mean,
we have to be scared.
We have
that
one
Vrana
player who can turn around and make something out of nothing. And he did it yesterday, and it was just a nice reminder that at least we got that.
We have a couple players. I'm just saying my thing is that we have one of these guys that we didn't really know for sure, and we still don't know for sure. It's one goal, it's one game, but you talk about a pure goal scorer is how we like to define him. And what does he do? Is just whip the puck in the back of the net.
I'm gonna challenge you. Who are you putting that could have made that shot? Lucas?
I think we've seen our fair share, Mike. You said well, wait a minute.
Who would make that
shot? Comment.
Who would make that shot? Give me that.
I would say you'd have a good shot of Lucas, Larkin, and Bertuzzi's shown some pinpoint accuracy this season as well.
I think that Bertuzzi leads the league in armpit goals. Bertuzzi leads the league in armpit goals.
You said nobody else on this team can make something out of nothing. And I said that's not true. Because Seider has certainly made something out of nothing. Lucas has too.
Right, but we're changing it, Matt. We moved away from that. I said who could make that shot.
Well, you can't.
I would say Lucas.
You can't challenge me and then say you're wrong. Let's change what we're talking about.
Yeah, but we did. That's what we're talking about, Matt.
No.
Who could make that shot? Nobody cares, Matt. Who on this team makes that shot? Lucas, maybe.
I stand by what I said. I don't need to change anything I said. I could still call you out and say you can't change the game that way. Also, I didn't
change the game, man.
Oh,
what I did was I specify what we were talking about.
So you had a secret conversation with yourself, and you're like, "Oh,
I need a minute to expand in between your 5-minute digressions here, man." So I finally got a chance to do that, and I think I was right. It's Lucas or maybe Seider, maybe Bertuzzi, because of his armpit goals.
I don't know. I'm sticking with Larkin.
Yeah,
he whipped one from the corner, Mike, this year. Point accuracy.
I've seen guys playing billiards do it all the time. Big deal. Come on. All right, we got. God dang! I saw the next slides coming up, and they're also pretty rough. Was that just for that particular game?
Oh God, what is the next slide? They must be mixed up. Which slide are you talking about? This is good. This is good banter. All right. Well, here was my next slide. Blashill and Bertuzzi is not ruled out for tomorrow. So he did set out practice with a non-COVID illness. So we wanted this is awkward. This is a horrible transition. This was supposed to be our transition into like like Red Wing news for the rest of the week. It's not going great. But we also had Mike, our last episode, or actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't an episode. I just signed on and decided to talk about Ali Hulevy. Kind of gave some opinions on what I thought was going to happen. I kind of thought that Ali was picked up because we were going to make a big trade. And instead, we put DeKaiser on waivers, then put him on injured reserve. And then, of course, today he was at practice. So clearly he's getting the Kucherov treatment as deserved. If anybody deserves the Kucherov treatment. But yeah, if anybody didn't catch that, go ahead. I gave a quick little ditty on what his career's been so far. It looks like, it's the guy who was drafted 5th overall. COVID gets in the way, I mean, you're talking about a couple of seasons plus that were derailed for his opportunity to develop and take steps forward. And instead, he kind of lost that. And we're all, as I said in that little episode, we're all too familiar with the possibility of that hurting some of our own players. So we're going to take a shot here on another one. He is a left side defenseman. So as we've talked about in previous episodes, we're always looking to fill out the left side, and we have plenty of guys. Oh boy, I guess maybe not plenty. We have a couple of guys who could get traded, and we're going to need those roster spots filled up pronto. So that's the long and short of it for Ollie. But De Keyser's already, it looks like he's going to be back at practice. We didn't make a trade, so maybe the case was here we're just taking a shot on a guy who was available.
Are we going with Oli or Ollie?
I'm saying Ollie, but I guess it could be Oli.
I'll take Oli.
All right.
Man, his quote here, it's great. A legendary organization and a lot of young guys coming up.
Oh, sorry.
So, Matt, what he's saying is, well, they used to be good a long time ago, and maybe they'll be good again someday. So here's my chance.
Well, there are some other left side defensemen that are doing pretty good. Stole this from where is this from? Oh my gosh, Elite Prospects. You do have Simon Edmondson, William Wallander, Albert Johansson, all at the top. Mike, this is a very specific statistic that I actually saw Ice Hockey Gifts was pulling out there. It is cute. It is fun. They're numbers 1, 2, and 3. 4, Mike. 21 and under defensemen. So we did cut it down. We put in a couple of filters, but here they are, Mike. The 21 and under defensemen playing the SHL. Again, you've got Johansson, Wallander, and Simon Edmondson. You
guys ever go to Comerica Park? Because it just reminds me of those like super obscure statistics they'll drop on you. Like on Thursdays in the month of June, nobody hits fifth inning, nobody on home runs. Like the Tigers' third string shortstop. He's done it twice in his career. Wow.
How you guys know people?
It's not quite that obscure, but
it is kind of funny they do that because they're selling that to the people who already bought tickets. They're already there. You don't need to like try and convince me that we have legit players.
You know what? Those are going to get really, really gross now that like more like online gambling is going to happen. So now they're going to really be trying to get you to push to put a bet or some sort of parlay on a fifth inning home run from a third string shortstop.
I can't wait.
Chewy,
what's going on, my man?
Chewy.
Performance art, 100% Larkin makes that shot.
Ah!
Thank you, performance art. You're the man.
Nah.
All right. So those were all the slides. Is there anything else we need to talk about, Mike?
God, what's the next game so we get this one out of our...
Oh,
we need a palate cleanser.
We've been on a pretty good streak of pulling Jay Fresh's team versus team cards, which has been kind of fun to dissect. Of course, we picked an absolute blowout, Mike, in the last game.
We shouldn't have specified. We should have just said blowout. That was our problem.
All right. Well, let's see. Based on the loss to the Coyotes, Mike, I don't see another win till March 19th against Seattle. So we've got the Wild, Calgary Flames.
I thought you were going to say 2023.
We've got the Wild, the Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver Canucks. We are in Seattle, so you know what? That's a loss. Then we've got the Flyers at home. I think we have beat the Flyers every game this year.
Yeah.
Islanders on the road, that'll be a loss. Lightning at home, that'll be a loss. Penguins, loss. Rangers, loss. Senators at home, April 1st, loss. Red Wings in Ottawa, that'll be a loss.
You want to talk about a parlay? If you're on the fence about something, just parlay a Red Wings defeat into there because you're gonna get pretty good odds.
We're so mad right now because I did want to ask you too. Like, let's get this one out of the way. Embarrassing. The word. Mike, were you embarrassed by that game last night? Because I saw that thrown out a lot on Twitter. This is the most embarrassing game. Were you embarrassed?
I wasn't embarrassed. No,
yeah, me neither.
I was disappointed because I didn't honestly think that we still had a playoff opportunity, but I did think that we could get a little bit of a feel here.
T-Money, you're making me laugh.
What did he say? I missed it.
Yeah, number 1 draft pick.
Woo! Yeah, we're going for Shane Wright, baby.
That's because I listed off all those losses.
Oh. Hey, we're still on pace. That's what we wanted, right? Trying to get Shane Wright.
I mean, it's so silly because we were still talking about like a top 10 draft pick, which I guess we're in position for that now. We were still talking about a top 10 draft pick before the season started, and now we're trending in that direction. We're like, this has been a complete disaster.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this being a 500 team. A 500 team get a 500, but I mean the equation's kind of undone when you get a bare butt spanking from the Coyotes at home, and it just feels really bleak as a fan. Like, man, if we can't beat them at home, when the fuck are we gonna win another game? So, I really did think that with Vrana there'd be an extra little pep in the step. I didn't think that they'd regress 2 years in one night.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think it dealt a pretty big blow to the Red Wing faithful, because now it kind of brings out, like, it takes off those beer goggles that we had at the start of the season, that there was some hope, and it was like, oh, I guess the rebuild is either not ahead of schedule, it's either on schedule or a little behind.
Ace Fishing pointing out it's pointless to predict their wins and losses right now. We have like 4 Wings teams right now. Who knows which one we're going to get night to night? Ace, now I was just having fun, but this is a tremendous point. There are so many different personalities. Would be nice for them to figure out who they want to be. Larkin last night, man, listening to him, the post-game presser, oof. It hurts him. He's been dealing with a lot of loss.
Yeah, I think did he sum it up and just say everything was the worst?
Yeah,
everything
what was
sucked?
The problem here? It would have been funny if he was like, fucking Nedeljkovic could stop a puck. Oh man, now that would be when the situation is bubbled over beyond repair. Sam throws out there, we tend to surprise in some of these stretches, and that's in reference to how I just picked we lose every game to end the season. Mike, to Sam's point, what sort of stretch are we looking at for you to keep Jeff Blashill on board for next season?
There is not a stretch outside of going undefeated the rest of the season that will have Jeff Blashill employed as a Red Wings head coach.
Let me throw this out there. Our our points percentage right now is 0.474. If we finish above 500, are you keeping Jeff Blashill on board?
No.
Whoa. All right. So here's the thing. I could say I would consider it. But I also don't. I think they're in such a hard, deep spiral right now. My confidence in them being able to do that is about at 0%. So,
yeah, I mean, if he wins out this season, I guess you talk about bringing him back. But
I'm not saying win out the season. You're talking about.
I'm saying that, Matt.
All right. Well. Yeah, I just for me,
I don't know what it's gonna take. We got rid of DeKaiser. We brought in Vrana. We stopped playing good teams. We played the Coyotes, and nobody else on the team seemed to get the message. I just listen. I'm watching on the split screen. I have the Piston game going, right? They made a move at the deadline. They made a move at the deadline. They had a players-only meeting, and now they're only playing really good teams in the Eastern Conference, and they've been winning all the games. They suck. there's no point in any of these games. They're not going to the playoffs. They're out by like 35 games. That's how far behind they are. But this effort, man, I long for this. I miss this from the Red Wings. I'm so crestfallen right now, man. I can't believe how bad that game was.
What if they lose out the rest of the season, but they give your piston effort that you're looking for
it's a watchable basketball product. That's what they're
I don't care about the Pistons. I just asked you a question about the Red Wings on Red Wings.
I thought you were doing a counterexample. If I could see effort from the Red Wings, they're not getting blown out 9-2. Yes, that's a watchable product for me. But I haven't seen that in it's been a couple weeks now, man. We haven't seen watchable Red Wing hockey. I guess if you want to throw the Carolina game or the Ranger game, but
the Maple Leafs game was fun. I mean, to come back, like to almost come back was fun. Ace pointed out that Jeff's getting fired on his birthday. T-Money did the research.
I think that's comment of the show, because why does Yzerman keep doing mean things to people on their birthdays? Just wait, do it the day before or after. Why on their birthdays?
Maybe that's the culture he's trying to build. You get the day off on your birthday.
I didn't say how. I just said you're not going to have a job on your birthday.
Oh, you want the day off on your birthday? Huh, Danny? Yeah, you got it. We didn't give enough time to talk about Phil Kessel grabbing a couple hot dogs and flying to Arizona. Missing. Now, the PR people are great. They said Phil left the game to go be with his newborn child. Mike, there's no way he's making it to see that child be born. So, of course, he did this to keep his active player streak, games played streak alive.
That's what the baby would want.
I'm going to ask you, will he regret it at any point in his life? Will it be when his son or daughter realizes that happened? Do you think at that point he'll regret it when they look at him and they go, "You played a hockey game when I was coming out of mom? You missed me being born so you could be at a hockey game?"
In all likelihood, he'll be there for the other 60 years of the baby's life. This is one night, I think it's okay.
Oh, I don't know.
He'll get the next kid. He'll be there for the next kid.
I did think it was funny how it was kind of PR'd through. He told it, he was not leaving the game to go watch his son or daughter be born. He missed his son or daughter being born so that he could be at the game and keep his streak alive. That tickled me to no end. Also, how about the Coyotes winning, being shorthanded for the next 99% of the shifts throughout that game? Crazy. All right, Mike, it's been an hour, kind of. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, I just want this game out of my mouth. It was horrible.
Yeah, I think.
And then the trade deadline's coming up, but I'm not even excited about that. It's like, ugh, who's going to trade for this?
How are you going to make?
Who's going to trade for this?
All right, now we never even talked about that, but if you could bring in a new coach just to promise me the team looked better for the trade deadline, right, then I'd consider it. But I don't think there's any coach you're bringing in that's going to fix what's going wrong. Is there
a coach who can make Nick Leddy worth more than a fourth-round pick?
How many games are we talking? We're talking. Okay, let's back up. Let's go back through all these losses. All right, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games before the trade deadline, I think, to fix it all.
You've got 5 games to revive Nick Leddy, and you've got a job. Can you do it?
What does Nick Leddy need to do in these next 5 games to fetch us a first-round pick? How many hat tricks?
A first? Man, how about a third?
How many hat tricks does Nick Leddy need to fetch a third-round pick at the trade deadline?
Is there a number of goals that somebody would actually put in an offer for that guy?
There's got to be some GMs and scouts out there that they go to NHL.com and look at the stats And then they're just gonna see, whoa, Letty's got 8 goals this year after he gets 2 hat tricks over the next couple of weeks. Man, let's bring him in. He's still got it. All right,
Yes.
Mike, let's sail off. Ace has a good question. Who's the best coach available? I think, unfortunately, that's where we also have to ask who wants to come over here.
No, don't go that route. I don't like when we do that because there's only 32 of these jobs in the world. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a prestigious job. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be in front of the Red Wings. Like, you're going to be in a great spot.
I know what you're saying.
Even the poopiest, even the Lions managed to get head coaches because, again, there's only 32 of those jobs. You get to lead a team.
I know what you're saying, but that you also have to weigh, is there going to be another job available? That's where that comes into play. That's where those guys are like, oh my God, there's only 32 of these. I can't just go to the Red Wings. I got to wait and see what else is going to become available after the playoffs and some other team blows it.
No, I mean, you get Seider, you get Raymond, you get Edvinson.
No, it's a two-way street.
No.
Two-way street, my man.
Who dropped that question, by the way?
That was Ace. Ace is on a roll right now.
I guess we're going what? Ricard Gronborg or Sergei Fedorov?
If we can get him from Russia, right?
If we can rescue him from Russia again.
Aaron reminded us Larionov was on the books a couple years ago as one of the top candidates. Look,
I think you're looking at Red Wing alumni or a guy you've never really heard before.
Any Red Wing alumni.
Not that I necessarily want him, but I mean at this rate.
Pavel come on down. Would you, Mike, let Henrik Zetterberg coach this team?
Would I let him? Matt, the city of Detroit would probably throw him a parade. I don't even know if he's going to be a good coach. But we love alumni in this town.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we stop grooming executives? Start finding some freaking head coaches to just start recycling and throwing across the league. And
we have groomed a lot of executives, scouts, defensemen who are 6'4" and taller, but not much else. We need some forwards who are maybe 6'4" and taller, outside of Elmer Soderblom, and then we need a coach. So we need one of those two things next season. If it's Elmer Soderblom, I'm happy.
Mike, if you're looking for a new coaching candidate, go to hockeyreference.com/Detroit Red Wings history. Just start scrolling from the bottom for the list, all the players, and if they're dead, cross them off. Everybody else is an out.
Don't cross them off.
We don't know where time machines are at right now. Okay, there's still a legit possibility.
Don't cross them off. Listen, this town is desperate to get rid of Blashill. Maybe bring in a dead wing.
That does sound like a Russian coach. Don't cross them off.
Yeah.
That'll be.
Don't cross them off. I like that name.
That's a great name. All right.
Yeah.
Ace
so I
wants
would
to know what Scotty Bowman's doing these days.
What's Scotty doing these days?
He's hoping his name doesn't get scratched off the Stanley Cup along with the rest of the Chicago.
Yeah. Look up. I'd say look up Ricard. Look up exit strategies for Fedorov to escape Russia. I don't know. I don't really know. There's a couple of bald guys I think are available.
We'll do research for exit strategies out of Russia to save all of our former Red Wings and make them head coaches over here. All right. Let's sail off into the sunset. We managed to squeeze in 2 more subjects after we said we were leaving. Everybody, if you have a second, hit that like button for the video. Subscribe if you had some fun so you can catch the next episode. I promise they're not as depressing every time. It just kind of hurts right now. And if you are listening to the podcast, you know what? God, I'm going to do this again. Mike, we got another review, and I got to thank you guys for going in there. This is 2 straight episodes we've gotten a new review.
Nice.
Donut Tunes, awesome stuff. Great podcast for Red Wings fans. 5 out of 5. Donut Tunes, I appreciate it. Of course, Hand 775 was in the last episode. You guys are the best. But I love you more if you give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Does us a world of good. Our views literally double every time you guys review us. It's insane. So if you want to join us for the ride, throw us a review. And hey, the more people we get to listen, better chance we have of making some money. We can give more stuff away. Of course, still out there, Mike. We pull a fleece. We're gonna do a random drawing of all of our buddies here. We'll go through the live shows. We'll figure it out. You guys are gonna have to comment or something. But every time, Stevie fleeces his GM counterparts coming up. So you guys just gotta make sure you're attending all the live episodes. We're gonna give away a Yzerman fleece. So keep it an ear to the ground. Make sure you don't miss an episode. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And we'll see you guys, what day's today? Wednesday. We'll see you Sunday. Doot, doot.